Okay, first I'm going to play the raw, unprocessed audio, and while that's playing, I'll engage the custom processing that I've created so you can hear the difference.
Hey, Lenny. Hope you're doing well, brother. The microphone used to record this audio is a Neumann TLM-102, and the audio interface used to record this is a Universal Audio Apollo Twin.
I'm going to walk you through what I've done to process this audio, and then we're going to discuss and diagnose the raw audio and see if there's things that we can do to potentially make this sound even better. My name is Lenny B. I am a voiceover audio engineer, and I help anyone creating content with their voice. They're recording their voice, they're capturing their voice on a microphone. I help them make a better connection with their audience, and usually that means improving the quality of the voice capture and the recording quality. And that could be a bunch of different things. That could be helping with choosing the right equipment setup, connections, gain staging, or often it's the settings, the custom processing settings that I develop for my clients. And when I talk about processing, if you don't know, that's generally EQ and compression and a bunch of other things that can optimize or fix the sound of your recordings. Now, one of the things that I offer is a custom processing service, and that's where people send me their raw voice, and I put my own EQ and compression setting on it. It's custom for everyone that comes to me. It's custom to their voice, their equipment, and the room. And it's to optimize the voice. And I use my ear and my training and my experience to get a really good sound. And you can actually hear what that sounds like on your voice for free. I have a system where if you send me your raw voice, I will send you back for free an example of what my processing sounds like on your voice. And that's, again, it's specifically tuned to your voice, your microphone in your room, and all those things play into the sound. All you have to do is go to my website. There's a bunch of details up there on how to do it. To submit your voice, there's a red button at the top, lennyb.com, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But what we're doing today is we're going to take a closer look at a submission that I received. Someone wanted me to process their voice. They wanted to hear what it sounds like with my custom processing. And he's a voiceover artist from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, here in the U.S., and he is using a Neumann TLM-102 microphone. He's recording into a UA, Universal Audio Apollo Twin interface, and he is using Adobe Audition for his Macintosh, but Adobe Audition is the DAW. That's the software that he's recording into, and that's where plugins and things would be applied. What I really want to do is share with you how I work with voiceover clients, and so I want to give you a little bit of background about where this gentleman is coming from. He says he's a little bit frustrated, and one of his challenges is that it's the consistency. So from one voiceover audio recording from one to another, he feels like the sound is different when he does his processing. It's not very consistent. One of the things he described is that he feels like he may need 2 or 3 different custom processing settings for his voice because he has different types of reads that he likes. I feel like a clear, sharp audio picture of your voice is the best way to go, and I think that works in every single style. And if you need a different type of processing for a different read, it may be just the gain settings that you need to adjust, not the actual total sound, unless you're going for a particular type of effect and a particular type of style. That's my take, and it's a fine line there, right? It could mean a lot of different things, the adjectives that I'm using, but that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I also want to talk about his recording space because that's really, really important when it comes to the clarity and the raw recording quality. And we're going to talk about diagnosing his raw audio and some suggestions to improve the overall recording. But it's important to understand where he's coming from with his recording space. He says he has a 6x6x4 PVC booth that he's constructed in his recording space in a room in his house. He says about 3/4 of it are covered with acoustic blankets. He says, I used to have it fully enclosed, but he found that it sounds better once he opens it up a little bit into maybe one of the sides of that booth. He opens it up into the room. It's interesting. This is really important because the acoustic treatment that you have in your room, the lack of acoustic treatment that you might have in your room, the dimensions, length, width, and height of whatever booth you're in, or even the room that this blanket covered booth is in, that all plays into the sound of your raw recording. And I would say that when there's problems, or when you have a great sound, the majority of that is because of the room and the recording space that you're in and the acoustic treatment. That is such a huge part. So I just want to establish the room that he's recording in and the recording space and the treatment that he has, because it's going to play into our diagnosing any problems that we hear and also how we're going to improve. The first thing I want to do is let's review the raw audio recording. And when I say raw audio, we're talking about this is the TLM 102 microphone going directly into the Universal Audio Apollo Twin that he has. But there is no processing at all. There's no plugins, not even the Unison preamp plugin. When you don't use a Unison plugin in the Apollo line of preamps and interfaces, it's just a clean recording. So it doesn't do any modeling, and that's what I want. We can always add that stuff back, but I want to get a clear picture of what he's working with, really to analyze the room, the reflections, if there's resonances happening and things. I want to get a nice clear picture, and because it's important to get the highest quality raw recording we can get, and then from there we use the plugins to optimize the sound, as opposed to using the plugins for fixing issues. You can do both, and we do both a lot, but nothing is going to sound better than a great room, a great raw recording, and then using the plugins to optimize and amplify the pleasing parts instead of fixing issues. All right, let's take a listen to what we're working with. And today I'm working in Adobe Audition because that's what he has, and that's how I'm going to deliver this final custom setting to him. But we're going to listen to the raw recording. But let's see what we're working with here.
Hey, Lenny. Hope you're doing well, brother. The microphone used to record this audio is a Neumann TLM 102, and the audio interface used to record this is a Universal Audio Apollo Twin. I've used both of those for the past 5 years.
Well, first of all, I'm a fan of this guy's voice. How cool is that, right? Just a nice big, his conversational speech just sounds huge. It's awesome. So he's got some nice tone to work with here. I think his booth and his microphone sound pretty good. There aren't any major issues that are hitting me right away. I am hearing a little bit of just a tiny bit of reflection in his recording, and let's listen to it again. And when I first listened to this, my initial reaction was, boy, I wonder if he is wearing headphones, and I'm wondering if the headphones are cranked up really loud and they may be feeding back just a little tiny bit in his recording. Let's listen again to this raw recording and see if you can hear any of those upper, mid, and high frequency reflections or resonances. That's kind of what I'm picking up.
Hey, Lenny. Hope you're doing well, brother. The microphone used to record this audio is a Neumann TLM 102, and the audio interface used to record this is a Universal Audio Apollo Twin. I've used both of those for the past 5 years.
Yep. I don't think it's damaging. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I'm just trying to see what we can do here to make this even better. And I'm hearing just a little bit of high end. Now, it could be a couple things. It could be like the earphones situation I was talking about. I can't assume everybody knows everything about audio engineering and recording and stuff too. So, it's possible he may have his speakers turned up a little bit while he's recording, and that could be feeding back. Most likely it's either the headphones or there could be some type of hard reflective surfaces. Sometimes that could be just a computer monitor, several computer monitors. That reflection sound could be coming from the desk if he's got a desk inside his booth. Also, if this PVC booth is placed in a room, but it's in the corner, that could be causing some reflection sounds too. Again, generally, this raw recording sounds really good, and I don't have too many problems with this. And I think we're going to be able to address all of those high-end reflection sounds that I'm kind of hearing. I mean, they're really minimal. Also, in this stage, I am looking at the recording level. I am listening for room noise. I'm listening for line noise. So if maybe some of the cables aren't connected right, or if he's got an external preamp that's connected and there's some type of issue with just the connections that he has. I know sometimes gain staging issues between equipment, but it sounds like he's got a pretty clean signal. His room sounds pretty clean, and I'm not hearing much of a problem with any of this stuff. So what we're going to do here is listen to the custom processing preset that I have prepared for him, and we're going to listen to the before and after. But one of the things I'll do is include some suggestions. So if there is any way that he can improve the raw recording, I would say I think he could reconfigure maybe where the screen or where the desk is if he's got that in his booth, rotating maybe. So where the microphone isn't picking up those reflections as loud. You really want to have your microphone not pick up any reflection. So your recording space needs to be reflectionless from the mic's perspective. So he could still have the reflections in the room, but as long as the mic is only picking up pure voice and the mic isn't picking up those reflections. In my estimation, that is how we can improve this further. And getting some ideas, knowing what to listen for, and knowing how to diagnose that, and knowing how to resolve it. In some situations, just more proper acoustic treatment is what's necessary to remove those reflections. My acoustic treatment for voiceover course is fantastic. It will teach you what to listen for, how to solve the problem. It's going to save you time and money and frustration in the long run, because arming yourself with the knowledge of how that sound is traveling in your room will improve the quality of your raw recording, which is just going to improve the quality of your processed recording and what you're sending to your clients. But one of the reasons why I developed this course is because it is probably the most common issue that people have preventing them from getting an incredible sound with the equipment that they already have. So check out that course, and I will suggest that course as well to him. Acoustic Treatment for Voiceover, and you can get the details at lennyb.com. Okay, I'm going to play for you the raw recording again, but then while I'm playing this recording, I'm going to engage the processing so you can hear the difference in the sound. And let me just show you kind of real quick what we've done here. We have used the F6 to balance out the recording. We've taken a little bit of the low end and some frequencies out, but this 4 and 5, I have used these surgical cuts to address that upper mid reflection that I was hearing, and see if you can hear the difference. Now, I'm not removing those reflections. They're still there. I'm just attenuating those frequencies so they're not as prevalent, right? We can just hear them less, so it just balances out the recording. Now, the EQ is doing a good job at attenuating those reflecting resonant frequencies, but nothing is going to sound better than if he fixes the room, repositions his mic, adds some acoustic treatment, or rotates in the room to make sure that the microphone is not picking up those reflections. Make sure those reflections are gone from the mic's perspective. That's probably a better way to put it. Okay, after the F6 and we do that EQing, I'm going into the Sheps Omnichannel. We're using an expander here to quiet the noise in between the words, but there is very little noise in this recording. We're using the preamp saturation to add a little warmth. I've got a VCA compressor, which is rather transparent, and this is just balancing out some of those transients, some of those high peaks, some of those consonants, the T's and P's in his delivery. Those are balancing the dynamics, making the louder parts a little bit quieter. And then we're going into Pultec style EQ, which is doing a little bit of sweetening. What this EQ does, and I think you'll notice when we engage the processing, it brings a little bit of clarity to the voice. It brings it forward. It really feels like when you listen to the recording, his voice is like closer to you, and that is just the magic of this mid-range here. We have a de-esser, and we're actually using the de-esser in two different frequency spaces, 4200 and 8600, just to tame some of the sibilance. It's taking no more than about 6 dB of attenuation at the parts where the sibilance is happening. So we're just softening the sibilant sounds in his voice. I usually will put another compressor, but I am not using it. And that's because we are using the compressor in the Manly VoxBox. And I think the sound of the Manly, a lot of it comes from the compression and this EQ, especially the low end. So we were lightly compressing his voice with the VoxBox 3-to-1 compressor. We've got a medium attack and a fast release. Medium fast release, and then we are bumping up about 5 dB in the really low end of the EQ, and then also we're raising the high frequencies around 4K, just about 3 dB. So there's a little sweetening going on here with this fantastically smooth sounding EQ, and that compression is really giving it that Manly VoxBox sound. We're going to start by listening to the raw recording, and then I'm going to engage the custom settings so you can hear the difference.
Hey, Lenny. Hope you're doing well, brother. The microphone used to record this audio is a Neumann TLM102, and the audio interface used to record this is a Universal Audio Apollo Twin. I've used both of those for the past 5 years.
You know, it's funny. Sometimes I'll say that, wow, it makes a big difference. And in some aspects, I feel it is. It's just making it more clear and more wide. I'm hearing the frequencies a little wider. But then at the same time, you know, it's still his voice. I still want to capture his tone, his character, his personality. That's really what I go for when I'm processing. I don't want you to listen to the processed file and like it better just because it sounds louder. I want to take loudness out of the equation. But also, that is just how you process. You want to make sure you gain stage. So going into the processing and coming out of the processing should be the same level. Loudness happens in the mastering stage. Let's listen one more time. And if you are interested, I'll wrap up by playing those the unprocessed and processed sound again. But if you're interested in sending me your voice so you can hear for free what my processing sounds like on your voice, on your microphone, in your room, all you have to do is fill out a quick form on the website and send me your raw audio. And I have some details on how I need to get those files. Just go to my website, lennyb.com, and at the top of the homepage there, you'll see a red button that says submit your audio. All right, let's listen to the raw sound and we'll engage that processed sound again.
Hey, Lenny. Hope you're doing well, brother. The microphone used to record this audio is a Neumann TLM102, and the audio interface used to record this is a Universal Audio Apollo Twin. I've used both of those for the past 5 years.
So if you've got any questions about any of the stuff that we've covered in this video, please leave them in the comments section. I'm happy to answer questions. And I want to help you make a better connection with your audience. If you are making marketing videos for your business, if you are doing audiobooks, if you're doing animation, if you're creating videos just for social media and you're trying to cultivate an audience or grow an audience for whatever you're doing, I believe that when you have first of all, when you feel good about your audio and you love the sound of your audio and you get a clear recording and your personality comes through, that's what helps you make a stronger connection with your audience. And when you can transmit emotion, that's when relationships happen. My name is Lenny B. Thanks so much for watching.